Hi there, welcome to Lamlam's audiobook novel channel. Today's story is titled, Donavon's Lost Luna. Chapter 5. 3. I watched as Hart paid no heed to my words or my pleas before turning around to leave. Zuri, you'll be let out in the morning, and this is the most I can do for you. I know you want to save Donavon, but I don't see the reason you need to though. He's a beast, Zuri. Have you thought about the way he treated you, made you feel, the cane and the fucking beating and strangling he's done to you before you decided to help him? He's killed your father, Zuri. Wise up. Not everyone deserves kindness, he lectured. Tears rolled from my face at the realization of the truth. I'd had my fair share of misery from him. Not that I was guilty. I was innocent, and my father was as well. Have you thought about it, Zuri? He took us captive and had your father's pack members be brought hostage while you, Zuri, you're a princess. One day you'd become queen, and he lowered you to the position of a slave. He added again, several thoughts of how he'd burned the body of my father in his office. But curse the day my father was killed. I wouldn't be able to, after knowing that he was in danger's way, just leave him to it. He let out an exasperated sigh, as if knowing my thoughts. You're not going to be queen if you continue feeling remorse or pity for those that do not deserve any of it, he said, and I untied my hands, opening the doors of the dungeon to let me out. I smiled in relief and hugged him. You stink, he said, holding me at arm's length, but that didn't stop me. I moved to hold him tighter. Thank you, I said before disengaging from the hug, waiting for his next movement. He locked the door to the dungeon as a decoy, so whoever came to check would think I was inside. There's no way you'd go anywhere looking like that, he said, and I nodded agreeably. I would even puke at the sight of myself, I said while he led me to the guard's room. I'll get you a clean cloth, but I need you to conceal yourself and make no noise, he said, and I nodded while heading to the bathroom. I finished after a while, scrubbing my body of the stench in that hellish dungeon. Hart was back in no time, handing me a clean piece of cloth, which I wore before heading out. It was already dusk, and I knew that Donavon would have already been at the hotel, close to being drugged if he hadn't already. Where did they go? Hart asked as we walked out of the pack house stealthily. I stood transfixed. I didn't listen to the end of their conversation, so I didn't hear which hotel they'd chosen for him. Wait, there's only one place with enough security to hold and accommodate Alpha Donavon, which is the Pearl. I'd heard almost everyone in the pack talk about how huge and beautiful it was. We both headed towards the hotel, but I was apprehensive. I was wearing a plain, long black dress without makeup, and the words were that only the name-worthy were allowed in. Do you know if there's a back exit somewhere? We could use that door, I said to Hart, stopping a few distances from the hotel. I don't think there's any, and I haven't been here before to know if there's any, he said, rolling his eyes at me. You're beautiful, Zuri. Your face is enough to get us in, he said, and I did the eye roll this time around. Let's go, he said, and I followed behind. Luck was by my side when the guard at the entrance allowed us in without any questions. I told you your face card would take us to places, he said, slapping my shoulder lightly. I winced in pain as his hands hit a bruise on my shoulder. I'm sorry, Zuri, he said, making a move to check it. We'll do the checking later. Let us hide ourselves from being seen by anyone from the pack, I said, and we both scurried away to hide from sight. We looked around for a while, and it didn't take much time to find them seated around a table with Donavon in their midst. My eyes trailed in him for a small moment before averting their hiding. He looked around as if he noticed my presence in the room. I couldn't do anything while he was with the elders and could just wait for him to excuse himself from their midst. But it was already too late. I'd begun to notice the effects of the aphrodisiac on him. His eyes were already drowsy, but they kept handing him the spiked drink in dribs and drabs. He soon stood up from the table and staggered away while Hart and I followed behind, keeping in sight of the elders. A lady was following behind him as well, and when she stood at the entrance of the room he was about to go into, she went after him. Hart walked stealthily behind her, giving her a hook to the side of her neck, and she fell flat to the ground, unconscious. "Heart!" I yelled as her body fell flat to the ground with a thud, and he shrugged his shoulders, dragging her body to a corner. "Make sure he's not with anyone in the room," Hart said while working to keep the body hidden from sight. I peeped into the room, but he was nowhere to be found, and when I walked into the room, I could not find him anywhere until I heard the running water of the bathrooms. "I'll only look to see if he's fine," I told myself while moving towards the bathroom. I'd barely walked into the bathroom when I was held by his sturdy arms. I struggled to be freed from his arms to no avail. His grip on my body tightened, and I slammed on his chest before he lifted me away to the bedroom, despite my incessant screams to be let go. Thanks for listening to Lamlam audiobooks. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. New chapters drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Stay tuned, because in this story, nothing is ever what it seems. Until next time, keep listening.